The Mount Rushmore of best WWE WrestleMania main events ever. That's right, there have been 40 WrestleManias, ladies and gentlemen, some with 2 nights. And of course, there's been a main event on every show. Myself and Nick Steve, we're going to dive through and pick our top 4. And I'm sure there'll be a few honorary mentions at the end. But we want to know your Mount Rushmore of best WrestleMania main events in the comments below right now. But without further ado, Nick Steve, enough of me talking. What is your first selection for the Mount Rushmore of WrestleMania main events?
I couldn't not pick it. It's WrestleMania 40. It's Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns, night 2. The culmination of a 2-year story. The high spots, well, not even the high spots, just the fact that you get The Rock, you get Cena, you get The Undertaker as like a fantastic surprise. Cody finally winning it after, like I said, losing at 39. It just has to be WrestleMania 40. It's so good. It's up there, man.
I don't care if it's recency bias, it's on mine as well. That was like the first one I wrote down, because there is something about that match that is so magical. It's a WrestleMania moment in itself. The fact that Rhodes becomes the WWE champion, the fact that Roman loses the title after 3.5, nearly 4 years at that point. Yeah. It's a long period, isn't it, as champion? So, I mean, for me, it's something that just, it needed to happen. And obviously, when you, like you say, you get those cameos for that 5 minutes, you know, when you get yourself in the Jimmy and Jay, the Solo, the John Cena, the Rock, the Seth Rollins, the Undertaker, all those moments that come in. And I'm not gonna lie, I lost my mind. I was like a 5-year-old again watching wrestling, and I didn't get it. I had that childlike feeling, because it's difficult to do that when you've been watching for so long. So to get that feeling again, I just felt very, very special. And the fact that Cody wins it, and obviously Michael Cole on commentary, just poetically as well, finish the story. And obviously with a big celebration afterwards. How can you not have this in the Mount Rushmore of top main events of all time? This is the modern day main event that everyone will talk about, a new generation of fans. But you know what? It's something that the old generation appreciates and respects as well.
It seems to be like there's one every sort of 10 years we get a WrestleMania main event that defines that decade of WrestleManias, and it looks like they've already hit it pretty early with the 40s. That one there is like arguably one of the best of all time.
Certainly is indeed. But that's our first selection then, and we both share it. So I'll go over to you. What's your second of the Mount Rushmore?
I'm going to go back 10. I'm going to go back 11 years. WrestleMania 30. Daniel Bryan, Batista, Randy Orton, the biggest and best underdog story I've ever seen in WWE, and the story that Daniel Bryan goes through to get it. He has to face Triple H at the start of the night, then being inserted into that main event. He's all busted up. He's got the rib tape. The odds are stacked against him. It's impossible odds, and he goes on to win it. The Miracle on Bourbon Street. Honestly, like I said, one of the best underdog stories I've ever seen WWE portray.
To be honest, what a way as well to finish that show with Daniel Bryan holding the titles up. The B+ player becomes the A-star student, almost, it feels, in WWE. And obviously it's something that we've been hoping for when, you know, Daniel Bryan first won the title at SummerSlam the year previous. Obviously then go through the big authority storyline. He wasn't meant to be anywhere near this WrestleMania main event, but then CM Punk left the company, and all of a sudden he finds himself in this position. And let's be honest, it's what the fans wanted, and we got what we wanted in the end. And it was a very magical way to end WrestleMania 30. Criminally, and I'm going to say criminally, it's an honorary mention for me. It's not on the Mount Rushmore, which is, some will say that that's really controversial, but I think there's one or two more that will take the spot above it. So, yeah. Okay. I'll try and defend myself very quickly in the best way I can possible. My second mention, WrestleMania X7, arguably the greatest WrestleMania of all time. Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Rock. The two biggest names in the biggest company who had just won the Monday Night Wars. This is the peak of WWF at this point. There is nowhere to go after this match takes place apart from down. This is how good and how great the entire night was, to be fair. But obviously, the match with Stone Cold and The Rock, this was all about, Stone Cold saying, I need this, Rock. I need to beat you more than anything, and I'll do anything to win. The match was changed to like a no disqualification match before it got started as well. There's blood, there's still chairs, it's physical. Vince McMahon comes to ringside. You think he's going to screw Stone Cold Steve Austin, but of course, Austin sides himself with the devil, and of course with Jim Ross and Paul Heyman on commentary, which is just absolutely amazing as well. It's just poetic, and obviously Austin wins it against The Rock, and it's a blinder of a main event on what is arguably the best WrestleMania ever.
Yeah, it is on my Mount Rushmore. It is one of my choices. Just to go back, possibly the two biggest stars WWE/F have ever produced in The Rock versus Austin. The My Way video package that, do you know what I mean, people still go on about to this year as one of the greatest video packages they've ever produced. The hype that they have, and like the story that they go through, putting obviously Deborah as The Rock's manager at one point. I mean, if we forget everything about Austin's heel turn afterwards, which it wasn't the best, but up till that point, honestly, it's on there. It's on my Mount Rushmore. It is my number 3 as well. I loved it as well. It's on mine.
It's a blinder of a match, and it's I mean, just as well the fact that the Stunners couldn't get the job done, Rock Bottoms couldn't get the job done, but this idea of The Rock, I'm just going to beat you down with a steel chair until you cannot get up and you cannot kick out anymore, is just something quite barbaric, but also something quite I don't want to say satisfying, but it's almost like it feels legitimately that that's the way a match should end, because you see some of these chair shots and weapons used in matches almost like doesn't get the job done. Here it's a case of I'm just going to use this chair until you don't get up anymore, and I don't know, it just feels kind of like it's kind of how it should be if you're going to do one of these sort of stipulation matches, and these no holds barred style stipulations anyway.
Yeah,
well, you had 3, I have 2. So I will dive in with my third one. Again, I like to think I'm playing this quite safe here with where I'm going with this one. WrestleMania 26. It is the streak versus the career. It is Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels couldn't get the job done at WrestleMania 25. Some arguably call that the greatest match in WrestleMania history. Try and top that, what do you do? Well, Shawn had to try and get the match to start off with. Taker was the champion. Michaels couldn't win the Rumble, so we had to make sure that Taker lost the chamber. He got involved inside the chamber, cost Taker the title with Sweet Chin Music. This match was made official, but Taker would only do it if Michaels put his career on the line. And in my personal opinion, I actually prefer this match more than 25. That's a controversial win itself. But I just remember the moonsault, Shawn being caught on the floor with the moonsault, and just these spectacles, the table breaks, the kickouts, and just one thing was going to go that you didn't want to go. Either the streak was going to be finished, or for me, my favorite wrestler was going to retire, and it turned out to be the latter. It was Shawn Michaels' last dance until 2018, but we pretend to forget that ever happened. Shawn Michaels rode into the sunset just like a cowboy afterwards. But honestly, this is an incredible match, and obviously the streak does continue after this, and this is arguably the second year, or is a 4-year storyline with Taker and arguably DX, because Triple H gets involved after this. But heck of a main event. Has to be the Mount Rushmore for me.
I'm out of answers, dude. You've got all 4 of mine now. Agreed. It's arguably the greatest WrestleMania match of all time. Again, another one that has a solid video package that does so well to portray Shawn's story from, I believe it starts at the Slammies when he wins an award, and he gets done that. From there, it starts on about how he knows he can beat the Undertaker, and then everything that goes on afterwards when he just starts losing it. He starts sort of segregating himself from all his friends like Triple H and stuff, and he goes into the Rumble and he fails to win the Rumble. Then he goes on to Chamber and he costs Taker the title at Chamber, then to finally get that match at WrestleMania. And yeah, dude, just everything. The story, it's probably one of the best stories ever told in a wrestling ring at WrestleMania.
It truly is, and that's what makes it so special.
Yeah.
So you've got 4 then. Sorry to take your last 2 away from you, but we're going to go with my one. Obviously, everyone knows that WrestleMania 8 is the first WrestleMania I ever watched, and don't worry, it's not Hogan versus Sid Justice. I'm not putting you through it. I am actually going to go to WrestleMania 37. I'm going to go to night 1. I'm going to go for Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks. 2 women main eventing WrestleMania, showing diversity, equality, and just literally made a world open of people seeing opportunities that perhaps thought it was not there. And not only is it a fact that people see those opportunities, these two ladies absolutely killed it. I would argue and say this is Sasha Banks' best performance on the main roster. Obviously, everyone thinks fondly of her time of NXT with the rivalry with Bayley. I think when it comes to main roster, this WrestleMania main event, she was a standout. Bianca Belair, people forget when she won that. She won the Royal Rumble. She hadn't really done too much before, but she was thrust into this WrestleMania main event. She only debuted in the pandemic WrestleMania the year before, helping the Street Profits. She's gone straight into superstardom. Just thinking about how, Sasha Banks has been held up as Bianca walks up them steel stairs to throw her into the ring, their hair whip, and obviously just closing off the show as well with the KOD with Bianca winning the title. It's a very special main event. I think that you see the emotion with the performers as well before the match even starts. It just feels real. It feels raw. It feels just something different. And for me, I feel that, we haven't had a women's main event since, and I think that this is certainly an argument of why we should get more in the future, because these two ladies absolutely killed it.
Yeah, agreed, man. Just the spectacle in itself of two African-American women main event in a WrestleMania night one, regardless if it's night one or night two, just the main event in itself. The emotions that those two portray even before the bell rings, you can just feel how special it is. And then, like you said, to go on and have an absolutely killer match, it is, honestly, it's up there as one of the greatest WrestleMania moments ever, in terms of just what it is. But like you said, you've got, and the best thing as well is the evolution of women's wrestling as well. I agree, it's definitely Sasha Banks' best main roster moment. I think Bianca Belair, do you know what I mean? I find it very hard for Bianca Belair to top that moment because of how important that one was. But I do agree, it is a very special main event.
And Bianca hasn't looked back since. I mean, obviously she's got the streak at WrestleMania herself, and then she's like the new Undertaker. But I mean, every year she has a great match as well. She's gone against Becky Lynch at 38, Oscar 39. Obviously, she was in the six-woman tag at 40, and she's going for a world title again at WrestleMania 41. So, it just goes to show that a star was born there. And for me, I thought that it certainly deserved its place on the Mount Rushmore. But there are some honorary mentions that I think we need to make. And then, Steve, I'm going to let you go first on that.
Yeah, I mean, dude, honestly, you could have Kevin Owens and Sami Uso versus Sami Zayn versus the Usos in the tag team from night 39, night 1. You could have also had Austin versus Kevin Owens. I think that in itself is very special, just for the fact that Austin doing a match after being retired for so long, very special moment. Being in Texas as well was really good. And then, obviously, because I'm a Warrior guy, I have to say 6. Even though the match is not the best, I'm a Warrior guy, so I have to put the fact that he wins the IC title and the World Heavyweight Championship in the same match at WrestleMania 6. I'd have to put that one as well.
The thing is, though, with that Warrior moment, it's kind of, I would have been the same as you in the childhood, and I know that I was a big Warrior fan as well. Yeah. I was desperate for Warrior to beat Hogan, and the fact that he does in that one, it does feel very special, even if the first 23 minutes of the match are probably a bit of a struggle. The last couple of minutes really do hit home and really do solidify what is that WrestleMania moment. I totally agree, by the way, with and you're right, by the way, Sami Uso and Kevin Owens against the Usos. That's that is what it was there. Main event, that was the killer main event. Obviously, Sami and KO just would not stay down during that one. Two best friends as well, winning the tag team titles, a tag team title match. Main event in the night of WrestleMania as well. Extremely special, extremely good. So yeah, I think that certainly was one that certainly delivered the goods there with that one. But another honorary mention for me, I've got 3 of them I'm going to mention. 2 of them are controversial, however I think they deserve their shout. But first off, non-controversial one is Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar from WrestleMania 19. 2 pure athletes just going in there, tearing up in the main event. Of course, infamous for the shooting star press that almost broke Brock Lesnar's neck, and thankfully it didn't do that. If that spot had not happened, there's probably an argument that match probably would have been in the top 4 in my personal opinion. But and after that, obviously, we have Hogan versus Andre the Giant from WrestleMania 3. Let's be honest, it's same as Warrior and Hogan. It's a bloody awful main event, but it's the body slam heard around the world. And obviously, from that moment, without WrestleMania 3, we're not here talking about pro wrestling. Like, that is the thing that made pro wrestling the big thing in the 80s, which got it through to the 90s, which brought us through to an Attitude Era, ruthless aggression, to this modern era as well. We wouldn't get any of the stars that we'd seen without Hogan versus Andre. So even though it's a bloody awful match, it's actually got to be in the Mount Rushmore, because that slam and that moment in itself in the main event just makes it. And the last controversial one has to be, obviously, from WrestleMania 20, the main event, Benoit, Michaels, Triple H. Brilliant main event with the three guys, and obviously the special moment at the end, at the time anyway, as a fan watching. It feels so special now when you watch it, but obviously the moment with Benoit and Eddie Guerrero, two best friends, both world champions, celebrating at the end of the show in Madison Square Garden. And it's just a show stealer, with Michaels and Triple H, who'd had that feud going on as well. Benoit winning the Rumble. Think what you want about Benoit, but look, this match was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, going back to your Angle Brock Lesnar one, I think the problem with that one is it's remembered for Brock Lesnar nearly breaking his neck on a moonsault, on a rotation, whatever, I can't remember the name of it now, but I'm doing that flip off the top, and I think that's the thing that people more commonly remember it for than the actual match itself, which is a crying shame because it is a really good match. For me, Andre versus Hogan, for as memorable as the moment is, and for every time you would start to watch Raw or SmackDown, the first thing they normally show is Hogan slamming Andre. It's kind of marred by the fact that it's not the first time someone's ever slammed Andre. Do you know what I mean? So it's just something WWE like to use. And yeah, for the last one, again, it's just a great moment to, like you said, have Eddie and Benoit, two best friends, world champions at the same time, at the peak of their business. Like, you couldn't really get any better in terms of like friendship and longevity and careers and traveling the road together and stuff like that.
Certainly indeed there. But to clarify then, our Mount Rushmore then for best WWE WrestleMania main events. And Steve, go through your list for us.
Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes from WrestleMania 40, The Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin from WrestleMania 17, Daniel Bryan versus Batista versus Randy Orton from 30, and then Shawn Michaels versus Taker from WrestleMania 26. I find it very hard to find anything that will ever knock one of them off that list.
I think that's fair there. My list for everybody is Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes from WrestleMania 40, Stone Cold versus The Rock from WrestleMania X7, Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 26, and Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks from WrestleMania 37. And I can feel like I could make a very similar argument there, but yeah, obviously a very close call for Daniel Bryan, just missing the cut. But let us know your Mount Rushmore in the comments below. If you've enjoyed the video, hit the like button, share my event, subscribe as well, all that good stuff. And of course, if you love a WrestleMania main event, you just might like a WrestleMania opening match as well. Check out our Mount Rushmore of WrestleMania opening matches on the side of the screen right now. Thanks for watching, take care, see you for the next one.